Yeah.
When people say to you, "How often do you go for a massage?" And you're like, "Well, I've just not had the time lately." And it's a bit like, well, we need to find that time, don't we? We all need. We should just set up a massive swap organization, shouldn't we? Where it's linked to areas, and it's just a sort of
Absolutely.
click of a button. Maybe once anyone listening wants to set up an app, the
Yeah.
massage swap company and it's
Yeah.
specifically for therapists. Um, and you
That
go
sounds
on
perfect.
and you arrange your swap with another local therapist in your area. There we go. I'll give that one for free for someone.
Yes. But actually, most people get bored, and the person on the couch will feel that.
So, welcome back, everybody, for episode 24 of the Massage and Physical Therapist Talk Show with me, your host, Chris Madden from Take a Breather UK, and today's guest, Louise Mockford. Now, Louise, you are the director of the School of Bodywork. And in an episode way back when, we did have Emma Gilmore on the show, who was the previous director of the school. So, I'm sure we'll get into that and a bit of you and what's going on. So, Louise, first off, obviously I've introduced you as the director of the School of Bodywork, but Emma was the previous director. So is Emma no longer working for the School of Bodywork, or?
Nope. Nope. So she's gone off and really kind of done her own thing.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, I've been kind of involved with it for many years, anyway. So I worked closely with Emma before. But yeah, so it's very much for the last, when did I take over? Just two and a bit years ago. Um, and yeah, it's very much, I think, about trying to make it my own thing, what I want it to be and how I see it going. So it's yeah, it's been a challenge in some ways, but a fun challenge and a really positive challenge.
It sounds really exciting. I mean, obviously, when you hear the words like director, and obviously, the School of Bodywork's an amazing thing. So to be able to step into that role, must be exciting and rather daunting, I'm sure. But are
Yeah.
you a hands-on therapist yourself,
Yes.
Louise?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how before we even get into today's sort of subject, but how do you find, obviously, being a hands-on therapist and then also obviously being the director that's kind of in charge of running a business as well, and there's a lot more of the admin sort of side of things to go with that, isn't there? And the number crunching, making decisions, all the stuff that a lot of people as a massage therapist don't like doing. And
Hmm.
that's why they're a massage therapist, because they just get to put their hands on people, and get into this zone and this flow, and not really have to almost think about all of that. Although we are all kind of directors of our own businesses, aren't we? Whether you're, a
Absolutely.
sole
Yeah.
trader or whatever setup it is. Even if it's just a part-time thing, it's all down to us as the therapist to run it all, isn't it? So, but obviously what you're doing is on a bit of a grander scale to that. Do you find
Yeah.
the do you find the balance works okay?
Yeah. It's I think I've all pretty much my whole life always worked for myself, in various ways. And so I think I've always had a kind of an understanding of business anyway, which helps. And yeah, and even working with the school before, I was involved in the admin and the kind of general management of it anyway. So I knew everything very well. It wasn't really a very new business to me. It was just kind of continuing it on. So that helped. Um, and yeah, it's always about um, yeah, managing your time properly. And this, it's a real being a therapist is a real passion of mine, but being a tutor and being I don't know, kind of the hopefully kind of the center of a community is really important to me for the massage therapists as well. So it's a passion, and I think obviously that makes it enjoyable, but you have to always watch yourself that you're not doing too much.
Yeah.
And I have a really, really good team, that I work with, the other tutors, administrator, and they've always got my back. They tell me right, you need to slow down, or you need to do this, or you need to do that. So that I think that's really important. It's having that support around you as well, because life happens. We all have challenges in life and things as well, as our work. So yeah, I think as much as I encourage, with our therapists coming through, particularly when people first qualify, you're trying to encourage them to look after themselves first and foremost, because actually you've got to look after yourself, otherwise you're not going to be a very good therapist. So I try and practice what I preach, and
It's
look after
easier said than
myself,
done,
but
though,
it's
isn't
very
it?
hard. Yeah.
When people say to you, "How often do you go for a massage?" and you're like, "Well, I've just not had the time lately," and it's a bit like, "Well, we need to find that time, don't we?" I was just laughing to myself then when you were saying others were obviously keeping check on, making sure you're not doing too much, and just wondering when the last time one of them said to you, "Louise, I think you need a massage."
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I think we all need. We should just set up a massive swap organization, shouldn't we? Where it's linked to areas, and it's just a sort of
Absolutely.
click of a button. Maybe once anyone listening wants to set up an app, the
Yeah,
massage swap company and it's
yeah,
specifically for therapists. Um, and you
that
go
sounds
on
perfect.
and you arrange your swap with another local therapist in your area. There we go. I'll give that one for free for someone.
Yes.
They can
Yes,
take that
somebody
and
please do that. I can't, I would love to do it, but you don't want me trying to develop an app. It would not be a good move.
if it was just
It
at
would
the
not
click
be
of a button and
successful.
it was like finding another massage therapist in your area that's willing to swap on this day at this time, or you book it in and then they book one in with you at another time and it just works and it's like, yeah, it'd be great.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm glad
Uh,
you put that out there. Yeah.
well, I'm going off on one here. That is a great idea, though. I must write that down. Um, Louise, it's interesting that we've just been chatting. Because I was wondering, I was going to say to you, firstly, was I bet you really look forward to the days where you're just doing massage work, with private clients or whatever it is that could take your mind off your the day-to-day
Yeah.
running of things. Do you just think, oh, great, I've got a day today where I've just got 4 clients, and it's just my clients, my thing. I can turn my mind off for a minute and just get into that flow, into that sort of, that routine.
Yeah, I think that, I absolutely love teaching, and I love running the school. But yeah, you're right. I think, as a therapist, being in that space with your client is therapy for yourself as well. Actually, if you're in the right space. So I think, yeah, I do look forward to that, and I do, I obviously enjoy what I do, but yeah, it is therapy in itself for me. I think, often we can, um, start you wake in the morning and think, oh, I've got a headache, or I feel, oh, I'm not really up for this today. Oh no. And then as soon as you sort of get into your first client, within 5 or 10 minutes, because you have to think about, looking after yourself, grounding yourself, that you have to take an interest in yourself, really, I believe, to be a good therapist. It's not just about performing techniques. It's about connecting with your client, but you have to connect with yourself before you can connect with your client. And it kind of almost forces you to do that. Whereas if you were, just doing housework or whatever you were doing in the house, or sat at a computer, you're not thinking about your own body. So that in itself can actually really, certainly for me, make me feel a lot better very quickly. Because yeah, it kind of forces you to do that. And yeah, and then just being able to spend that quality time with your clients is a really, can I say magical? Might sound a bit
Of
silly,
course it
but
is. No, it
it's
is.
kind of a magical thing.
Yeah,
And creating that connection and that rapport, um, is really special. So yeah, I think it's a kind of a two-way thing.
it is. It's all about balance, isn't it? And it's nice to actually have a bit of a mix and a breakup of the week, isn't it? Rather than just doing like, because this the same thing. If you were doing hands-on work Monday to Friday all day, every day, which a lot of therapists listening to this probably do, um, it can be tricky, it can be tiring mentally and physically. Hey folks, we want to give you a free premium 100% cotton couch cover for your treatment table, and it's worth £24, and we're going to give this to one lucky viewer. All you need to do is like this video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. Have you learned something from this episode, or have you any thoughts or insights from our discussions? We'd love to hear your thoughts and your key takeaways, and so please do share them in the comments. We'll randomly pick just one comment and get in touch with the winner to send you the premium couch cover, and it's that easy. So get liking, get subscribing and get commenting. Good luck and thanks for listening. But today's topic is interesting because obviously as someone that teaches as well as practices, this is quite interesting, and when I seen today's topic, I did think, oh, I'm looking forward to that because today's all about looking at sort of how we can massage with authenticity. So how do we make it our own, and make our own sort of technique, if you like, our own flow, our own treatment unique, to us, to me, for instance, to you, to whoever's doing the treatment. Now, with that, obviously, when we do our training, typically, depends where you go, I suppose. But as you know, I can't remember. It was that long ago when I did mine. I can't remember what company it was. It was big, with a big company, a reputable company. It was it was spread out a long time over the course of a year. I think it was a year at least. Anyway, 100 hours of case studies, all that, blah blah blah. But there was a specific routine, and you had to stick to it to pass.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't stray off the path. If you did something slightly different that was safe and great, it still wasn't part of what you were meant to be doing. And I get that. You've got to do what you got to do to get your certificate in your hand, haven't you? Um, how how important is that? Do we have to stick with that? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I mean, so I teach our level 3 we call it the therapeutic massage diploma. And yeah, I strongly believe that we shouldn't be following a routine, for many, many reasons. Um, yeah, I start with a routine because I think that's easy for them to get to know hands-on bodies and just get to know the strokes and things like that. So, first few sessions they'll do a routine, but very quickly it's then saying, okay, now we need to explore um, how different people work as a therapist as well, because we are all different. That's a really good thing, that we're all different. Some people are more technical. Some people are more energetic. There's different ways of working, and I think that should be embraced. And I think having to follow just this set routine just doesn't give you the ability to treat the client actually how they need to be treated. Every person that gets on your couch is completely different person. They might present with the same symptoms and might have very similar things on paper, but actually that things affect them in very different ways. Everyone has a very different story, and we need to be able to adapt to that, but we also need to have the confidence to adapt to that. And I think if you spend so long just doing that same routine over and over again, you don't have the confidence to even start to explore different things, because you're kind of told, right, like you were really right from the beginning, that you must stick to this. This is safe. This is this is what you need to do. And actually, there is so much more out there, that particularly now, we've got access to YouTube and massage championships and competitions, and all this, everything that we've got, social media, we've got this access to millions of different styles and techniques and innovation that people people are exploring things, and it's really, and I think that's wonderful within reason. But yeah, I think if you're trained to just be, yes, you must just do this, and this, it partly affects your confidence, but it also it's not, you're not listening to the body particularly, because you can't adapt to what that person needs. And I think that is the thing that really makes a good therapist, is being able to listen and adapt to your client. Um, we get a lot of people, coming on our postgraduate courses, for example, who have done the very basic level 3 training. So they've got their certificate, they've got the same qualification as anyone else with their level 3 on paper, but actually they're very limited in what they've been taught, because it is just a routine. And first, so they often lack confidence, but also they get bored. It's really
Yeah.
boring. For most people, there are some people that are happy with that. That's great. But actually, most people get bored, and the person on the couch will feel that. Even if they can't put it into words, they feel that. You can feel when somebody's disconnected from what they're doing when you're receiving a massage.
I think it feels a bit robotic, doesn't it? If it's just the same routine, same flow. But
Yeah.
I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, well, as a training provider, not you in particular, just any training provider, I guess when you've got hundreds of people coming through the door and you need to safely teach them how to become a massage therapist, without doing any harm, um, not with knowing exactly what they need to be doing. I guess there has to be a routine to teach people, I suppose. Um, because I don't know, you might disagree with that. I'm just thinking logically, is it possible to have a unique flow for every single person? But I guess from what makes the School of Bodywork sound extremely exciting is, yes, that sounds like that actually is possible. Um,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think, yeah, of course, as I say, I think to start with, of course, you've got to be safe. You've got to teach people, it's teaching people what different strokes are and what they're for, and how they, there should be a, within reason, an order to them. You want a warm tissue before you work deeper, and, think the kind of the general rules. But yeah, I think, I mean, our course is over a fairly long period of time, and we have you have kind of 12 days of very practical hands-on throughout that time, and a lot of practice in between, that they do on their own. So I think that obviously that gives more time for them to develop, as their own person, own individual therapist. But still, it's only the beginning, because it takes years and years and years to really develop who you are as a therapist. But yeah, you've got to be safe, but at the same time, I think, again, a lot of the thinking has changed. Like things like, massaging people with cancer. It was originally, oh, you mustn't touch anybody who's got cancer, because you're going to spread the cancer around their body.
Yeah.
um, you know we know better than that now. But that doesn't mean to say that I think every therapist should be treating somebody with cancer. What it means is they need more education, with regards to cancer, so that they can then treat a person safely. So I'd recommend our level 3 therapists. I recommend they don't treat people with cancer unless they check in with me first. So yes, there are times when you have to, you have to be careful, because you have to be safe. But really, I think once you've got the basics in place and you understand the theory behind what you're doing, um, and if you understand it well enough and you've got that foundation, then I think it's quite, if you're in the environment that allows you to, then actually you will find, although there'll be a similar kind of similar style from a lot of people because, a lot of people will be watching me massage. I'll be demoing, and most people will copy
Yeah.
because
But
that's
they'll
how
look
you
up to you,
learn.
won't they? And if you've demonstrated something on them and it feels amazing, they'll be thinking, I want to do it just like Louise. Do you know what I mean? To
Yeah,
an
and that's
extent, but
natural. Yeah. Yeah, so that'll definitely happen. But again, what I try and do, I certainly don't want clones of me everywhere. Don't need that.
well, this is why we don't want AI to get
It's
into the
enough.
massage world, don't we? Because it would just be the same massage from a robot, basically.
Exactly.
And the whole point
Yeah.
of what we do is every one of us that does this is different because we're all a different human being. So we will all be unique, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah.
Um, But I remember when I was doing my training, or maybe it was when I just qualified, and I obviously made lots of friends on the course, and we kept up to date. Obviously, we're all busy now, and we don't do it anymore. Hence why that app I was saying we should just make about the swaps. But anyway, I remember not long after qualifying, I think maybe I was doing a swap with someone else that I train with, and I remember shaking up the order of what we were taught and starting. It was something as little as like rather than starting on the back, I've started on the leg. So there was something I'd changed it and I just added something. And I remember the shock and the horror from whoever it was at the end, sort of like, wow, that was great, but why did you start on the legs and not the back? And then you did something, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, because we're qualified now, we've done what we needed to do to show that we can do it safely. But and now I felt like you needed me to work your back. It was just crying out. So I didn't want to waste time starting on your legs. I just wanted to get stuck straight in there on you. It was just whatever came to my mind at the time. And it was almost like a mind-blowing experience because we both then were like, wow, we
Yeah.
can just break free from the chains and just go with it.
Yeah.
Um, and then since then, I remember seeing things on, Massage Warehouse is Instagram, for instance, some of the stories when they put up clips of therapists doing, showing how to release tight glutes or, things. And I'm watching it thinking, wow, I never was taught that when I did my training,
Mhm.
but I feel confident enough to give that a try
Yeah.
because I know my limits. I know not to, I know how much pressure to apply safely. I know, you know, not to be daft and silly with it. So I'll just try it.
Yeah.
And I don't need to say to my clients, "Oh, I'm going to try something new on you today," but don't worry, I was never taught this when I was training. Do you know what I mean? You don't do that, do you?
No.
You just do what you think the client needs at the time. So if the client's chatting to you before the session, as you do with your clients, and you find out how you're doing, any changes, what's going on in your world, and they say, "Oh, well, my shoulder's really been giving me some jip this week," and blah blah blah, and in your head you're thinking, "Wow, I watched a really good video last week of a shoulder release," and then you've got the devil on your shoulders going, "Go on, try it." And then you've got the little angel on your shoulder saying, "Oh, well, you didn't get taught that when you did your training." So, you know, and then they're battling against each other, going, and you think, well, I'm a trained massage therapist and I know what I'm doing. So I'm going to try it. And it's when you try these little extra things that you wouldn't normally do, and the client says to you at the end, "Wow, that thing you did on my shoulder felt amazing. I've not had that before." And it's like it keeps each session slightly different as well.
Yeah, which is really important. Yeah. Yeah, really important.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise they would just think, oh, it's getting a bit boring that. I mean, I'm sure they
Yeah.
wouldn't, because ultimately, I guess if you need a massage, you need a massage and it will feel amazing, whatever you do. I'm sure like, but
Yeah,
you
but
want it, you
again,
don't want it to just feel good, do you? You want each
yeah,
one to be, oh my God, that was the
yeah, and I
best thing
think, but I
ever.
think what you're saying, I think as well, because it's something kind of more exciting for you, that you've changed something up, that even that in itself will come across to the person on the couch, that's like, oh, this is, oh, so the enthusiasm from you trying this, whatever it is you're doing, it would resonate with them. So, that in itself will be a beneficial thing, even if the technique itself wasn't that great. It actually the intention behind it is good, and that in itself is a big thing. So I think that's also worth kind of considering, and that you're thinking about it. You're thinking about them. You're thinking about their issue. You're thinking about, oh, how can I help? How can I help them? Just so they feel like they've actually been listened to, and you're actually trying to do something to help them. But yeah, I mean, I think some people struggle with that because they struggle to have the confidence to even try these things in the first place. And other people will be really gung ho and just go, yeah, I'm just going to go in there and go and do this. So I think it does depend on you as a person as to how confident you are with
Well,
trying things.
it's funny you say that because obviously I'm here saying, "Oh yeah, go for it, do this, do that." But anyone listening that thinks, "Wow, that's like he's a well confident guy" or whatever, I can guarantee you when I first qualified, I remember. I mean, I think my brother was one of my clients. I had friends that were clients as well. They all paid, but obviously, you know what family are like. They love helping you out as well as obviously having a session themselves. But I remember my brother asking, and because he's my brother, I could be honest. He says something, I could just sort of tell him to do one or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's a random client that obviously obviously I respect my brother if he's listening. Yeah, Matt, I love you much, but I can tell him to do one if he asks for something, and I'm going like, nah, don't be daft. But I remember him saying, "Oh, he's a scaffolder, or he was scaffolding at the time." And he was like, "My back's really in pieces today. Could you just spend 3/4 of the time on my back?
Mhm.
Don't worry about my legs. Don't worry about me." And in my head, I was thinking, "Oh, what? But I've got to do 5 minutes on each leg, and then I've got to spend a couple of minutes on each calf. I've got to do this on." And all that was going on, and I was like, I remember saying to him, "Oh, but if I spend that much time on your back, I'm not going to have time to fit Bob up with this, and I've got to do this." And he was like, "Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I just want me back. Just want me back doing today, really." And I remember at the time being like, "What am I going to do?"
Yeah.
When really, when I look back now, I think how silly of me because I think the client, yeah, although it was my brother, so I felt I could just say to him like, "Oh, but I'm not going to say to an actual client, oh, but I'm meant to spend 5 minutes on this, do 5 minutes on that, then 2 minutes on this." But I think back now and I think the clients asked and then specifically said how they're feeling and what they would love to get out of that session today.
Yeah.
So that's what they want. So do
Exactly.
something amazing with that, and don't worry that you've missed off a certain other part
Yeah.
because chances are then when they come back the following month or 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever it might be, you then add that other part that you didn't do the last time in, and it makes it that so different and unique.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, that's it in a very kind of simple sense. It's like people worry, oh, I left out the, I don't know, the soft fists on the calves or something. It's like, and
Yeah, it doesn't
don't
matter.
worry
It
about it.
honestly
It's like
doesn't.
because the person on the couch is unlikely to notice that you've missed out that because they didn't know it existed anyway.
Yeah.
So, um,
And
yeah,
I always believe as well, it's even if someone, if you can get someone on that couch with the mentally switched off for an hour, at least, if it's a 60-minute session, um, even if they walked in there with a sore ankle and you didn't even touch that ankle for the whole time, they would still leave there that after that hour
yeah,
with their ankle feeling so much better because
yeah,
you've relaxed every other part of the body and the mind.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's systemic ability. I think that it's systemic, and you
absolutely.
don't always have to be work. Sometimes you can't touch the area that they want you to because it might be too painful if it is sore, for instance. But
Yeah,
by releasing and working other areas of the body, it's gonna realign and readjust and help anyway. You know,
totally. Yeah.
so it doesn't matter if you miss out a certain bit by mistake, for instance, and you follow this regime. Um, but I get for some people having that framework
Yeah.
is, and if that's what you start out with, then great. That's what I started out with because I knew no other. That's how I was taught. And I'm sure a lot of people listening, until they've heard you say that that's not the only way, you know?
Well, that's it. And I think that's it. People think, oh, this is it. And a lot of the, general public think this is it. You kind of either have a Swedish massage or a sports massage. That's kind of, it's like, yeah, no, there's so many more things in between and
Yeah.
around those. And yeah, still a lot of therapists only really know that. And I
Yeah.
think, um, I think we do have to know there's a lot of choice out there with kind of further education, actually the CPD stuff,
Well,
where
I
you
was
can
just going to
probably,
talk to you about that because
yeah,
I was going to say that obviously you learn your basics, you learn your level three, for instance, then you've got been given the big thumbs up to get going then and to crack on, haven't you? But anyone listening to this thinking, well, I'm not quite confident enough to just see someone do something on Instagram and think I'm going to try that.
yeah,
Or watch some YouTube videos and see something that catches their eye and they want to give it a go. What do I do? How am I just stuck on this routine forever because I've not got the confidence to try anything new? Well, my answer to that would be just do some day CPD courses in a new technique. Trigger
yeah.
point therapy, deep tissue work, even Thai foot massage, whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, there are so many things out there now, I think, and a lot, and I know, we've got a lot of courses, and I'm a little bit, I like to be outside of the box slightly. Not too crazy, but I think, for example, I know there are a lot, not just us, but there are a lot of people that are doing slightly different things as well. But I think it's really important that you can investigate and actually think when you look at all these courses, because there are tons of courses. I think every provider can be quite different in their approach as well. So they might say the same thing, but they can approach it in a very different way. And I think it's really important that people do their research, find out about the provider, about the tutor, what do they resonate with them? Because I think that's really important. But the subject itself is really important, you know, just because everyone has gone and done trigger points, doesn't mean that that's right for you. That might not be your bag at all. You might not be in slightest bit interested in that. You kind of need to start exploring what you are interested in, what floats your boat when you read something, or when you think, oh, actually, oh, that sounds interesting. So you say it might be Thai foot massage. You might think, oh, I really fancy doing that. Great, have a look at that and have a look at what's available. Um, but yeah, don't I think some people think they kind of have to do this journey where they do so if somebody's done like level 3 Swedish massage, for example, then I have to go and do um, deep tissue, then I have to go and do Indian head massage, and then I have to go and do hot stone massage, and there's no rule. I think it's really important that you find what interests you. Um, because then you can be passionate about it. Rather than just thinking you need to tick that box. A lot of people think they have to do deep tissue stuff, um, because that's what's going to bring in the clients. But actually, what will bring in the clients is you being passionate about what you do and bringing your passion to that. So if you're not actually really passionate about that, and you don't really want to do deep tissue work, yeah, okay, you can put it on your list of this is what I do, and you'll get clients coming in through the door, but they're not going to be your ideal client.
Yeah.
So it's about looking at yourself, which can be really hard, and it changes throughout your career as a massage therapist, I would say. Very few people actually start out, go, I want to do this, and stay on that path. Quite often people are kind of, going in and out of different things, and they eventually kind of find themselves where they want to be, because it is, you're always developing, and you're always, even experiencing things differently in your own life that bring up certain things, or clients that come in that are presenting with certain things that then make you take an interest in something else. So I think it's got to, and that's where that kind of authenticity stuff, comes in. I think you've got to have some kind of interest in it, not just
Yeah.
thinking ah, yeah, that's what the clients want. It's got to kind of be what you want, because it actually, that in itself will help attract the clients to it.
Well, it's really interesting because I obviously can only talk about my own experience, and it's making me remember things I did, and I found a tutor that I really loved. She was called Sue Cross. I've not heard from her in a while, actually, and I must check in with her after. Maybe she's listening to this, and if she does, I hope she is because she was fantastic. She worked for a company called Gateway, and they had a hub based near me in Manchester, so that's why I went there. I didn't do my level 3 training there. I did that through some big company. Some I can't remember what they were called now, but. I did a lot of sort of CPD day, sort of 1 day, 2 day training courses with Sue at the Gateways Hub in Eccles in Manchester. And I kept going back there, not mainly because I was specifically wanted to learn this modality that I was going to. I was going because I wanted to learn from Sue as the tutor.
Mhm.
Um, I went there. I've done so much. I could reel off. I'd have to pull them up and be like, "Oh, I forgot. I've got a certificate in that." Because over the years, I've just gone and done so many.
Yeah,
But things like Thai foot massage, for instance, I went there. It was a 1 day thing. I don't advertise that on my website because I honestly, I'll be honest, I don't want people just booking in for a Thai foot massage because I can't
doesn't float your
really be
boat.
bothered. I'm not into just doing Thai foot massage all day, but. I've done my training in Thai foot massage, and when clients come, if they've got real sort of tension in their feet, in their ankles, and I want to get my little Thai foot stick out throughout the session and just start working it and work a bit deeper in some points, I can do.
Yeah,
And at the end, they'll be like, "Wow, what did you do with my feet?" And I feel so much better. And I'll be like, "Oh, I just added a few Thai foot massage techniques in there," and they're like, "Oh, wow, thanks so much." They didn't book in for a Thai foot massage; they booked in for a full body massage, but that's what they needed. I felt they needed. So great, and same with loads of other sort of things that I've done.
yeah,
But I often get clients say to me, "Oh, well, I booked in for deep tissue or Swedish massage, whatever, but I don't actually know what that is." They
yeah,
say that when they turn up, and I literally, we have a chuckle, and I say to them, "Listen, as my belief is massage is massage and it's unique to you and your needs. So I always say, to be honest, I charge the same for everything that's listed on my website. Once I've got you through the door and I chat to you now, I explain that it's all the same, but it's tailored to suit you. If you need a deeper massage and want these deep, tissue techniques, then that's what we'll do.
yeah,
If but some people, but I've had so many that come and they book deep tissue massage, and then when I'm chatting to them before, they explain that they really like gentle touch and they don't like, and
yeah,
inside I'm laughing to myself thinking, but you've booked a deep tissue massage, but that's fine because I'm not, you could book a standing on your head massage for all I care, and when you turn up, I'll chat to you and we'll do what you
exactly.
need, you know.
Yeah.
The client doesn't always know what they want.
No,
Um,
absolutely. And they feel, I think, I mean, that's something that, I think it's, like on your website and things like that, I think it can be actually confusing for people. Like you say, if you've done loads and loads of training, which, as you say, is a great thing, because you can bring in any skill that you've learnt from anything and incorporate it into what you're doing. You don't have to do, if you've done Indian head massage, you don't have to only ever do pure Indian head massage treatments. You can bring in those techniques into your couch massage and into whatever you're doing. um but yeah, I think a lot of therapists think they have to have their kind of list of treatments: hot stone massage, Indian head massage, this is 45 minutes, that's 60 minutes, this is whatever. And actually it is like you say, people don't know what half the things are anyway, and they don't know. It's like, oh well, yeah, but they want a bespoke treatment for them, they want an
yeah,
individual treatment. So I mean, I tend to tell people to, rather than having an exhaustive list of things and very, you either book this or you book that. Actually, you want to you want to show people who you are as a therapist. What are your passions? What are your rather than the treatments that you do. And yes, you say, I've trained in this, this, and this, and this. That's great. This is my passion. This is what I want. This is what I really enjoy working with, for example. Or, I really enjoy being able to tailor a treatment to the individual client. And actually just being able to say all that, and then say, you can book an hour's massage, you can book an hour and a half's massage, and we tailor that to you.
Definitely.
Is a really, really good way of actually people going, oh, great, I have no idea what I want. I'll book that and I'll go in, and because I've already kind of made a connection with that person, I get where they're coming from, or, they resonate with you somehow. They've already kind of built up almost like a little bit of a rapport because they've got to know you a bit as a therapist and go, oh, yeah, okay, well, I'm just going to book in 60 minutes and see what happens. And then,
Yeah.
as you say, you sit, you have your chat, you find out what they actually want. And if you've got enough tools in your toolkit and you've got the confidence, you can then tailor it, bringing whatever tools it is that you've learned. But I think getting to that stage is the tricky thing for a lot of people. It's actually getting that confidence to go, well, have I got enough skills to be able to tailor that treatment to somebody?
Oh, like with anything though, it takes time, doesn't it? And every massage you do, you're getting that bit closer to being able to sort of build that confidence and tailor it how you think it needs for that client. But I couldn't agree more about having. I used to have on my website on my booking system like a mad list of all the different things I'd done, and I remember when it dawned on me one day. I think because I was just tailoring and mixing it all up anyway. I was like, this is so confusing for my clients to go on and they've got to read all this different stuff and they're thinking, I don't know what I want. Whereas now, pretty much, it just has massage or reflexology or a bit of both. Um, but I think it is important to let your clients know that you're trained in all these different things because obviously you want them to be confident in you. You don't want to be saying, I'll do a bit of this, bit of that, bit of this, and then thinking, well, are you trained in that or not? You want them to know, but just having an option on your website where it's a 60-minute session, a 90-minute session, if that's what you do, or a 30, 30, 60, 90, and in the description, it could just say, obviously you need to word it how you're going to word it. So don't anyone listening to this, don't copy me word for word here, but in the description, you could just say, you know, a 60-minute session tailored to suit you with a range of modalities, including, and then you could just put, and then they're reading this thinking, wow, right, well, and then you just speak to them when they arrive and be like, how are you feeling today? Right, well, I think maybe we'll do a bit of this, this, and this. And it makes it so much more exciting for you as a therapist as well. It's almost like you're an artist and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to use the blues and the reds and the greens today, and I'm just throwing it on the canvas, and I'm just, it's almost like it's this free flow of creativity rather than this black and white outline of, oh, another day, another client.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And I think it's important for us because there's nothing worse than going to a therapist who's become stale.
Yeah.
I've had plenty of massage where I'm just thinking, oh my God, I mean, they're just, they're thinking about what they're getting for their shopping later or what they're going to cook for dinner. You know that they're not connected to you and they're just completely uninspired and like, oh, and you say, oh, I don't know. Yeah, I've got a lot of tension in my shoulders, or the typical thing. And oh yeah, and they take no notice of what you've said at all. They're just like, oh, yeah, just
And then they just do the allotted 5 minutes on each shoulder because that's what the training said, because you've got to
yeah,
move
and
on
they have
quickly to the
and they're not
next bit.
inspired to do anything else. They're just kind of
Yeah.
stuck in that rut, and they're like, oh yeah, well, I'm just going to earn my 40 quid or whatever it is. And that's really sad because once upon a time they would have been passionate because you don't really start out in this industry unless you have a passion for caring for people and bodies, really. It, so, yeah, they've lost their passion, and that is horrible. It's horrible as a therapist to lose your passion, I'm sure, and just end up just, drudging through the day.
Well, it
Um,
just becomes a job then, and obviously it is a job, and you're doing it because we've got to earn a living and stuff. But obviously, a job's so much more fulfilling when you're actually enjoying it and excited for it, and you've got that buzz and that energy. And we need that for this job because
yeah, you really
it is
do.
a physical job and it is a mentally draining job, depending on your clients and what they've got going on. And obviously, it's very hard to not take that on yourself and carry that weight sometimes. So you need to do what we're kind of saying here to try to get you to make it a long-standing career for yourself as well, not just a flash in the pan.
Yeah,
We want to be doing this until we retire.
yeah,
Healthily want to be doing it till we retire, with the same amount of energy and passion
mhm.
at the end as we had when we first started out. Um, so I think everything we've kind of said in this episode today is so important. And, it's inspired me. It's made me want to go back on my booking system and just double check like
Yeah. And I
what
think
what
we
what's
should
on
kind of
there
do
and have a bit of a rejig around, I think, a little bit again and take,
Yeah, and make sure you get, I think, not specifically directed at you because I haven't looked, but
yeah, I'm
make
going to
sure
get
you
on and change it all if I haven't before you go on and have a look after.
yeah. I think it's making sure that you get your personality and yourself across in your marketing. Um, does it really, does your marketing really resonate with you? Because then you get the right clients to you. If it, I'm not a I've changed a lot over the years, and no doubt will keep changing because things change, and you change. But um, if I go and put sports massage all over my website and make it very clinical, that's not me. Yeah, I can do it, and I can do all this stuff, but it's not me, and I'm not going to attract the right clients because they're not going to resonate with me. It's going to be kind of a false. It's not false advertising, but it's not giving that true picture of who I am. So I think it's important as well that we are, obviously we don't want to tell everybody everything about our personal lives, but what we're passionate about is important. Um, because people will feel it even when they read something, they'll feel and go, oh, okay, she really, I love working with the cranium. That's one of my real passions. People will, when I'm talking about it or when I'm writing about it, they'll feel that, oh yeah, she really is interested in that, rather than I can write about sports massage, but they're not going to feel it. So I think, yeah, even I was going to say, even for you, even when you've been a therapist for years, keep going back and checking on these things. It's not
Yeah.
just a new therapist, because you will. I think every therapist who continues to enjoy their work, they will continue to change and develop, and you'll go back, you haven't looked at your website for a year or something, you think, oh yeah, okay, maybe I better go and have a look. Go and have a look and go, oh, actually, yeah, that doesn't really work now. I need to change that slightly, or I need to do this slightly differently, because you've changed, you've developed. That's just nature.
It's funny because obviously when you get to a point where you've got a lot of regular clients, they book whatever on the booking system and they come and we're going to do whatever they need today kind of thing. But then it's funny because you're thinking, yeah, I've not actually looked on there for a while. So for new clients booking,
Mm.
it maybe it does need to be rejigged slightly just to your true sort of unique
Yeah,
way of how
reflect
you
you.
actually do things.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but I would say anyone listening to this is just don't be scared to mix things up a little bit.
yeah,
Trust that
and
you've got your training to do what you can do safely. So feel free,
yeah, and even
tailor
if
it.
Yeah, and even if you don't, but also I think I would also say it's kind of caveat to that is that if you don't have the confidence, and in a way it's a good thing because actually we don't all want to just watch YouTube and go, oh, I'm just going to go and suddenly do this. Um, but there's support out there, and I think that's what I where I come from is actually there's peer support. There's support, you can get support from your tutors. You can do bespoke tuition. You don't have to go and do a CPD course. So, if there's a tutor that you particularly like, you had your tutor who you particularly liked, um, contact them and see if you can do a one-to-one session. If there's somebody you really resonate with, actually they can be, they can really help inspire you and guide you. And I think a lot of people don't know that you can do that. And actually that's really important. But things
Yeah.
like say like doing massage swaps and sharing, like a lot of the now are doing things like skill sharing days. So they're really cheap, because we have to still obviously run things. But they're like 20, £30 or something for the day, depending on where you are. And it's a bunch of therapists of all different types coming together and just sharing whether, they need help with a client or they want to help with a particular skill, that they've forgotten, maybe a technique they've forgotten, or they just want to get hands on, they just want to share stuff. And it's very much about it. There's no kind of set like schedule, this is what we're going to learn today, but actually coming together, helping each other, trying things. Like if you're not confident to try it on a client, you might be confident to try it in that kind of environment. Like, oh,
Yeah.
do this. What does that feel like? So don't be overwhelmed, I think, by us saying, oh, go for it, try it, because actually for some people that's just too much. But there is support out there. Um, just contact, I mean, we do bespoke tuition. I'm sure plenty of other people do, but contact people. And you might have been watching somebody again on YouTube or something that you really like, and they might not be far away from you or something. And actually, maybe you can contact them and say, "Can I book a session in with you?"
Yeah.
That kind of thing, just to support each other. We can all learn stuff from each other. I'm learning all the time, even from students who are coming in to learn their level 3. They teach me things because there's always more to learn, and how.
We never stop learning, do we?
No.
And I think that's where the swaps with other therapists is really good as well, because you can sort of try things out and say, "Oh, I'm just going to try this out," and it's great. And they learn. If it feels great, they'll be saying, "Oh, what did you do there? That felt fantastic." That gives you a bit of confidence as well, because what it was that you wanted to try actually worked. Um, if you're not if you've not got other therapists to do that with, you could be trying things out on, siblings, family members, partners, things like that as well. I can guarantee if you said to a partner or a family member, can I just do a half an hour session on you? Just want to try a couple of new techniques. They would be on that couch before you had a chance to click your finger. I can guarantee it. So if you've not got that confidence to just try these things which is totally understandable with a client straight away,
Yeah.
there's other bodies willing and able to jump on your couch and have a go.
Yeah, and if it's something that fit, if it's something, there are things we do have to be careful of. So I'm certainly not advocating going out there and just doing anything. You have to have that training,
Of course you do, yeah.
use that foundational training that you've got. Um, and CPD, I think, is really important. So I think it is important that people go and do further training once they're qualified. That is not it. There is far more out there. But yeah, don't be afraid to be different, and don't be afraid to be you. Um, that that's the thing, because actually when you're with somebody on the couch, it's the whole experience. It's not just about the techniques that you're applying. It's
Yeah,
the whole thing. It's your rapport with them, it's your touch, it's your listening. That's what matters.
definitely. Louise, so can you remind everyone where's the School of Bodywork based? Have you expanded into different areas? What's
There is a plan. Currently, we are in Exeter, so Devon,
Yeah,
in the southwest. There is a plan to expand a little up towards Berkshire, Hampshire kind of way. Um, so that might happen, I don't know, next 6 months or so. Um, but yeah, so our base is in Exeter, and yeah, we've just recently, just in January, taken on our own premises there, which is really
Amazing.
lovely. So yeah, and we've got a couple of treatment rooms and things there too. So yeah, it's really nice to have our own proper space.
So if anyone fancies a trip down to Exeter
It's a lovely
to
city.
learn, yeah, I've never been actually, but I have heard good things. And it's always nice sometimes to just get away and have a few days away to do some training, some CPD, or obviously anyone listening to this that hasn't started their journey yet and they're looking for a provider to learn from, but
Yeah,
with the approach of it being unique
yeah,
as
yeah.
opposed to black and white sort of outlined thing, then they can get in touch with the School of Bodywork. And do you do any online stuff as well, Louise, or is it
We
all
don't
hands on?
do much online, because I do believe the kind of the hands-on stuff
Yeah,
is
no, I
definitely better.
totally agree. Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, some of our courses we have online components, so they do a
yeah,
lot of the theory online, and then they come in and put it into practice. But yeah,
yeah.
not a lot of a few. We've got we've got a therapist guide to starting up your business module, which is an online module, which is
Oh,
really
cool.
useful. So that, I mean, that would be a really good thing. Anybody that's struggling a little bit, that is I think that's a really valuable module. It's something that our level 3 therapists do as part of their diploma. But actually, even if you're not a new therapist, if you're struggling, then that's a really useful, comprehensive, and reasonably priced. I can't remember how much it is at the moment, but it's £50 or something, and there's a lot of information in there.
Yeah, brilliant.
So that's a useful online
Yeah.
course that we do.
Cool. Well, anyone listening that's interested in just checking out, obviously, the School of Bodywork, where can we find you? Have you're on the socials and stuff?
Yeah, so we got Instagram. We're just at School of Bodywork, which is nice and
Hmm.
simple. And Facebook, although Facebook these days not so keen. Mostly Instagram. And yeah, the website schoolofbodywork.com. Um,
Great.
and there's lots of information on there. We got we always run kind of 2 of our CPD courses a year and 2 of our level 3 courses, for example. And things like myofascial release. So that's my passion, is myofascial release work. So there's a lot of variation on there, and we're always kind of updating and adding new things. We've got a good team of tutors, so
Brilliant.
that we're
So
all
yeah,
checking out what we do.
everyone listening, get on there, get checking it out. And Louise, it's been fantastic chatting to you today. A lot of important, but sort of, you know, I'm going to use the word mind blowing in the sense of it's just kind of opened up us a part of, of what we all do, but to realize that there is a different way to do things.
Yeah,
And I'm hoping this has given the confidence that some people might have just needed that extra little push just to, just to tailor their sessions that little bit more to how they want to do them,
yeah,
and to how they think the client in particular may want it. So it's been brilliant. Anyone listening, I would say, as always, keep sharing this to anyone you feel might benefit from listening. Like, subscribe, leave us comments if anyone's got any comments for Louise or myself. We will get them questions over to either of us to hopefully give you an answer that you know if we know the answer, that is. But yeah, so let's keep going and keep these sessions coming, because everyone, I'm like, wow, that was a top chat. And there's another one in the bag. So Louise, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to chat to you, and hopefully go and enjoy some of that sunshine now.
yes, definitely want to do that. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Thank you very much.
I'm off to bed, everyone.
Sleep well.
Thank you very much. It's been awesome. Okay. Goodbye.
The Massage and Physical Therapists podcast is brought to you by Massage Warehouse, your one-stop shop for quality massage supplies. Massage Warehouse was founded by therapists for therapists over 20 years ago. We put people before profit and only sell quality massage supplies we use ourselves. I'm not going to try selling you anything here, But I would like to tell you we are the only retailer who gives back to the therapist community. We host a private community group of over 4,700 therapists where they have great discussions every day. We sponsor massage events around the country, publish a weekly newsletter with up-to-date industry news, and of course, we host and produce this fantastic podcast along with our amazing host Chris and his co-hosts Claire, Kate, Anna Maria, Amy, and renowned guests. Creating this podcast takes a great deal of dedication and effort. With growing competition from soulless overseas Amazon sellers and non-specialist retailers, your support means more than ever. We'd be incredibly grateful if you keep Massage Warehouse in mind when you next need a massage table, oils, or any other supplies. Every purchase you make helps us give back to the therapist community through education, events, support, and this very podcast. And hey, if you know other therapists who might not have heard of us yet, we'd really appreciate you spreading the word. Your support means everything. We truly couldn't do this without you. So thank you. Until next time.